time I took it, I absolutely loved it.
Spit the murderous, my murderous shit.
You got Eddie.
I shared with my boyfriend right from the start, and he shared with lots of other people. And if there wasn't a clean needle around, I would. I generally rinse them out with alcohol or tap water, but I mean...
It's buying Bentley coupes, not bragging.
Yeah, I felt like I'd come home. It was the most fantastic drug ever.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll say my case, of which I'm certain. I lived a life that's full, I traveled each and every highway, and more. Much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, 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 regrets.
Yeah, I felt like I'd come home. It was the most fantastic drug ever.
Blackpool to a lot of people is the end of the line, just like addiction is. You know, this film is all about Blackpool and addiction in Blackpool and recovery in Blackpool.
How about a brief description of your using history, like what age it was when you started using and your preferred substances?
Right, 16, I started smoking cannabis with friends, very sort of low level, didn't think, you know, it would lead to anything else, even despite my mum saying, oh, it'll lead to harder things, and the more she said that, the more I smoked to prove that it wouldn't.
First started using drugs when I was 12 years old. I got into the weed. I was hanging around with older people, so they introduced it to me. I was smoking a lot of bud, right up until the age of 15.
Mum bought a business in Blackpool when I was 16. I moved over here. I used to work nights on the promenade. And I can remember, never knew what drugs were when I was at school. There was something in a suitcase what geezers with greasy hair shot each other over. That was it, you know, just something in a film. I remember looking over the cafe counter one night and seeing them all falling out the business nightclub, pissed out their faces, buying chunks of out of each other. And looking the opposite way down the road to the zone. And they all came falling out of the zone in a much worse state, but loving each other, picking each other up, hugging each other, having a right good laugh. And I thought, fucking hellfire. I don't know what they're on, but I don't want anything to do with it. But whatever they're on down there, that's a ticket, that is. That's me. I like that. I like the look of that.
You know, by the age of 18, I was taking acid with my mates, watching Pink Floyd The Wall, and just, you know, just monging out. By the age of 20 odd, I was taking fet 7 days a week, not sleeping, my head was going. A year later I was taking benzos to deal with all the damage of the fet I was taking. Because I started to become paranoid and anxious around people. By the age of 23, I broke into a chemist, and I was caught obviously. Got absolutely cracked off the coppers, broke my jaw, broke 3 ribs. So I was put on dihydrocodeine for the pain. Well, you know what's going to come in next, don't you?
Towards the end of the 90s, and yeah, I got into that, and then just carried on doing that. You know, I was working and just living for the weekends for years, and then one day we all came back from a club and someone said, do you want to try heroin? And I thought, yeah, because I was always open to try anything, you know. And the first time I took heroin, it was like, on the foil, it was like, boom.
It all mushroomed out of control because all I wanted to do was be stoned. But I couldn't be stoned because I was off my face on fet. And if I wasn't off my face on fet, I was taking loads of pills. If I weren't taking loads of pills, I was taking loads of coke, and I was taking loads of Valium to fucking get me down from all the speed. If I was taking all the speed, I was smoking loads of weed. So I could never actually get stoned. And this perpetuated for about 10 years whilst I was on the promenade. And then I had a bit of a... I was in a relationship and it all went a bit tits up, and she ended up dying of an overdose.
Methadone prescription. And I just recently got off it last year, and to be honest with you, I thought I was going to be on it for the rest of my life. Didn't see a way out. 15 years I was on a script, yeah. Picking it up daily, not able to leave Blackpool, just a slave, you know, basically just stuck in Blackpool. I had to ring up the CDT if I wanted to go anywhere, you know, just not a quality of life anyone should have, absolutely not.
It was funny because I was, originally I was just using once a week, and then my friends started selling it, so then I started buying a 10 bag every day, and I was using every day for about 3 months.
So when she died of an heroin overdose, it sent me head west a little bit because I didn't understand what heroin was. You know, I understood weed, I understood pills, I was a chemical freak, and I understood every other drug. I understood how they acted, how they reacted with you, what they did, how to counteract it. I understood all that, but I never understood heroin. So I started dabbling stupidly to understand what the power was of this white powder, this brown powder, what its power was over people, and why it turned people into horrible people, basically.
In 2009 I went into rehab with my house and did 6 months there. Learned quite a lot from it actually. When I got out I learned quite a lot, but unfortunately I'd relapsed. I'd learned a lot about myself while I was in there, but obviously I hadn't learned how to deal with outside, and, you know, because it's such a confined bubble and such a safe place. I picked up about 4 weeks after I left rehab. You know, so when I left, my head just went.
And then one day he didn't have any. I started getting a cold and flu-like symptoms, and it was in the middle of summer. I'm thinking, what's going on here? Why have I got flu for, you know? And then the next day he had some, and I had it, and the cold just went. I thought, but I didn't really think nothing of it at the time. I was still carrying on, and then it started to take over a lot more because I was working for a supermarket at the time, and I got pulled in the office for looking scruffy. I got, you know, they got fired for it because of my appearance, and then it all started to, you know, then I thought I might have got a problem here.
The very minute I started smoking it, I remember having my first 2 lines and they tasted like smoking peppered mackerel. It was horrible. But all the pain and anxiety and all the horribleness in my head went. And I can still remember now feeling every emotion drained from my body, which at the time was a good thing because all the hurt, the pain and the anger, it disappeared. For 4 or 5 hours it just went. And I was happy.
Before I knew it, I had a diazoxide habit and a methadone habit and a heroin habit.
And then I ended up going to the doctor's GP just for a random checkup, and they took my pulse, and they said my pulse was the same as a healthy 70-year-old. So I thought, well, something's going on here, and then I just said to them, I'm taking heroin. So then they referred me to a clinic in Nottingham.
About 7 years I was smoking gear for. Still working up and down the promenade, doing this and that, getting up to mischief here and there, having a laugh, being what's the word I'm looking for here? A functioning addict. Yeah? Never wanted treatment, never wanted help with my drug use.
I did accept the help because I felt that I needed it, but I wanted it on my terms. You know, I lied to them loads through the majority of the time I was there about my usage, because my usage was still, because I wasn't on a lot of Subutex, I could still use on top. So I was lying to them for the majority, but I was engaging, but on my terms.
The only thing I didn't change was my thinking around it all, and I only started realising about that when I was in the cells. My best friend had an OD and died in my presence. And the next day I was sitting in my flat and I saw the police pull up outside, and the block of flats I lived in was a proper nefarious block of flats, and I was laughing, me and my mate were laughing when someone was about to get nicked. So it was like a scene off of Simpsons. We're looking out the window. The police have come to the door, they booted the bottom door, and we've heard everyone upstairs, and there's a bang on my door. So I thought nothing of it. I've gone and answered the door, and it's the copper at the door saying, "Are you blah blah blah?" Yeah, that's me. Right, you nicked. Didn't have a clue what I was being nicked for. Went to the cells, thought it's mistaken identity. I've not been out the house for the only place I've been. I went to my mates last night. We got high, came home. I've not taxed anybody, I've not ripped anybody off, I've not robbed anybody, so it can't be me. I've done nothing wrong, so this is all mistaken identity. It's a massive inconvenience for my life. Sat in the interview room, and the copper told me that my best mate was dead.
In September I went to Chapman Barker unit in Manchester and did my detox, and I think on reflection I was the most motivated person there that learned from that experience in rehab and detox 2 years earlier. I didn't want to mess it up this time.
I went to a detox 4 times, but it was, I could get off it but I could never stay off it, you know, because my money was building up in the bank from my job and that.
I remember sitting in a cell that night because I got kept in the police station for 3 days, and I was lying on my cot and I was looking at the ceiling, and I was thinking about ways, what can I say to get me out of here so I can't have a hit, because I'm feeling a bit shit now. There's no way I'm going to ask for that doctor or nurse because they're just going to give me. And I had like an epiphany there and then in that police cell, in the dark and the cold. I had an epiphany of, your best mate's dead. He's tag on the toe, he's dead, he's never coming back, you're never going to see him, hear from him, have a laugh with him again. You can't go 20 more rays with him because he's dead. You were there when he died, you were just flat off your face, you didn't even notice. But you've not even thought about that, Chris. All you thought about is getting high. And it kind of made me feel sick. Like, it's the first time I've felt like any form of emotion for about 10 years. So in the morning, I had my lovely breakfast provided by the constabulary, which consisted of some sweaty eggs, a rubber sausage, and some beans, what I'm sure they were spitting in. So I was sitting in the cell, and the hatch opened on the door, and there was a bloke on the outside of the door who asked me, I tested positive the night before for opiates, do you want any help to get into services? And I think it's the first time I've ever not thrown my beans at the hatch and told him to do one. I said no, I looked at my tray and I looked back up and I went, actually, as he was closing the hatch, well, actually, yeah, I do. I think I need some help here because I don't have answers for once.
So when I was in Chapman Barker unit, I specifically went up to the therapy team and asked them for help, you know, sort of working on my negative thinking, negative thoughts, and they were firing loads of worksheets at me and I was completing them and, you know, handing them in. And I came out of Chapman Barker in October, so I went on to Coast, and to be honest with you, I didn't really think Coast would be working for me. I didn't think it would whatsoever.
I was lying to my key worker for years and years, and originally I was going to go to rehab in Burton-on-Trent, but I didn't get the funding. But that was down to my lying and stuff like that. So about a couple of years ago, I walked in to see my key worker, hold my hands up, said, look, I need help, this is happening, I'm using, everything's going wrong, And he says, right, well, I've got this place called Little Dale Hall in Lancaster, to go and have a look at it. So I went to look at it in July 2010. Absolutely loved it. You know, I walked up there. Well, I just had this feeling that I needed to come here.
And he met me when I got released. He met me out of the cells and he got me into services. He got me onto a script. Introduced me to key workers in Blackpool that I still speak to. I've still got a really good relationship with today. And got me involved with services. And through that one individual, I got on a script, so I stopped using. I went into detox at the Kevin White unit in Liverpool.
Coast is a community rehab in Blackpool, and basically the philosophy was that just come in, sit on the chair, and just give it a chance, and that's basically what I did. I just sat down, and after a while I was able to sit with people, feel comfortable around people, And you know what? It started to work. I couldn't believe it.